Let's talk about Groq, G-R-O-Q, not K. So G-R-O-K, Groq is your large language model from X. This is Groq. It's completely different. It is called LPU Inference Engine. Now, what's LPU? LPU stands for Language Processing Unit, as opposed to GPU. So it sounds like these guys are actually making hardware. And inference means when you interact with the large language model, you give a prompt, the model will give you a response based on its training data and your prompt, so it can provide you some relevant information back. This process is called inference. Now, you might have experience when you're using ChatGPT or any Gen AI product, especially when it's free. When you ask a question like this, you will spit back the response, and you can see it's typing out of the screen. Now, this is already actually pretty good. If you do at nighttime, peak time, you can see it literally spit out words one by one. That means just it's running out of resources. Too many people are doing the same thing. And sometimes it will time out. Now, what Groq does is it runs these models on their infrastructure on LPU. So if we scroll down, you can see they have solutions like a LPU card, look like your GPU. They have a rack solutions, data center, and you can even try the API, which is what we're gonna do in the cloud. It says, for example, they can run the Llama 70B model up to 18 times faster than other leading providers. So maybe you're talking about Microsoft or OpenAI when they have their SaaS solution providing this API access, these guys can do it 18 times faster. Okay, so what you need to know is, number one, this is not a large language model. This is a infrastructure provider, and they can let you run different large language model on their services. And the API we're gonna get is free, and they support a couple models. I think it supports the Llama 2 and the Mistral, and it also gives you the speed here, right? So we're gonna try the API today, just build a simple chat app and see how fast the inference is, and you can get idea. You can get idea what these guys like compared to a traditional endpoint that you get from Microsoft or OpenAI. Also, if you are interested, on their GitHub, Groq has also open sourced one of their tools. They call it machine learning agility. Basically, is a benchmark tool, right? So here they talked about the BERT base being benchmarked on NVIDIA and Intel. So of course, these tools are used to compare the performance on hardware, how well their LPU will perform against the traditional GPU, and they support multiple models, right? So this is beyond my realm. If you are interested, have a look at their GitHub page. So if you watch my other videos, you know what we're doing here. First, we're gonna go to the Streamlit website. So this is a example of how we can build a ChatGPT app. And what we're gonna do, and this is what we did before, and what we're gonna do today is we're gonna just copy the whole app. So you can go to the full code here, get the whole app. What we're gonna do is we're just gonna modify the endpoint. Instead of calling the ChatGPT the OpenAI endpoint, we're gonna use the Groq, and this is what the chat app look like, right? So we're just gonna replace the large language model part with Groq. Before we get the app ready, let's go to your Groq API access page, and you need to get API key ready. So click on this playground on Groq Cloud. That will take you to their playground, which looks exactly like the OpenAI playground. And you can have a look at the documentations here, how it works. So basically, you're gonna have an API key in your environment variable file. You can select Python here, and this is basically the code, right? This is the code how you do the Groq. It has the rows, contents, exactly like the OpenAI. The model, instead of you do GPT 3.4, you do a Mistral or Llama here, which is what's support here. And click on API keys on the left, and you can get your free API keys. Go to your Visual Studio, open up your folder. So I create a blank folder. It's called Groq YT. Select folder. So this is your workspace. You can see nothing there. Next, we're going to activate Control-Shift-P. Let's create the virtual environment to run the Python. So make sure you already have Python installed for Visual Studio and also for your computer. I'm gonna use virtual environment. Select 64-bit. Yep, that will do. Try that again. Control-Shift-P. Control-Shift-P, create environment. This is the path. Creating environment. So you should see a bunch of files gets created on the left side. That's your virtual environment. And you can see this prefix will change from PowerShell to the virtual environment for Python. Looks like it's completed. Now if you go to the scripts, under the new folder got created, there's activate. So let's go script. Script. And now we just want to activate it. The PS1. Okay, so see this green writing here? Now we are in the virtual environment. First thing we're going to do is pip install the package we're going to use, which is the Streamlit, which is going to be our interface, and of course the Groq. I've already installed it in other environment before because this is a new virtual environment for me, just for the video, so it's got downloading and installing again. Our virtual environment is almost set up. Now let's create an environmental variable to hold our API key for the Groq. So just add this top level. Let's go a new file here. It needs to be .env. And I want to move it under the environment. Here you go. And this is going to be your Groq API key. Save, and you're good to go. Before we try the new code, I think we should just make sure the example code from Streamlit will work before we replace it. So I just went ahead under the script folder, create a new file, and I copied this Streamlit code to the file. Of course, now we need to install the OpenAI as well. And I will go ahead add my API key here for the OpenAI, and we're just gonna run this, and we should expect it will look like just a chat app example we saw on the Streamlit website. We also don't need this ST secrets here, so let's get rid of that. We are not going via the Streamlit. To run the code, you need to use this Streamlit run command and point to your file. Let's go enter. It calls up the browser and load the web app. So let's see whether it works with this sample code from the Streamlit website. So this is the hint text, what is up, and this is the title, as we specify in the code. Let's ask a simple question: what's the difference between BlackBerry and Mulberry? And the response is really quick. So we know the code works, my API key works, and let's switch to next step. Now we want to update the code. Instead of calling the OpenAI directly, we're going to use the Groq. So first thing, we're going to go to Copilot. The reason being is I don't have a paid account for the ChatGPT, so it won't have internet access. With Copilot, we do. So I'm changing to the style to more precise, and I'm going to paste our code from the Streamlit sample. So let's say, do you understand the following code? As you can see, today the Copilot is a bit slow, while the OpenAI before was super fast. So this is just presenting our sample code, the one we just run, that we screen grabbed from the Streamlit website. Okay, we're getting our first response back. Next, we're going to copy this sample from the Groq website under the documentation. So this is how the chat completion works for the Groq. As you can see, it's almost same as OpenAI. Okay, so we'll copy that and come back here. Now I'm not gonna wait for it to finish. It's really sluggish today. Do you understand the following? I'm just gonna ask directly. Can you update this code with the following example? We are going to use Groq API instead of OpenAI API. And this is our example. Let's see whether it will give us a working code. All right, still responding. Come on. And now we're gonna send. Looks like it's taking time today. Let's see whether it updates our code. Sure, I can help you to update the code. After a long 5 minutes, looks like we've got the code. Looks legit. So let's see whether it works. We copy that and go to your VSCode. We'll start a new file. Paste that in, save the file. So a quick scan through of this code generated by Copilot. This is our app title, which you can change to whatever you want. We can call it Groq show. And then this is where we get the API key from our environment variable, which is defined here. And then the rest is calling the model. Instead of GPT 3.5, we are getting the mixture model. And this is also how you can get different model by go to the models page, and you can see at the moment Groq supports 3 models: the Llama 270B, Mistral 7B, and the Gemma. And you're gonna grab this model ID to replace it if you want a different model to try with. And then the remaining of the code looks just same as the example we just gone through. Also appending the messages. Okay, so before we run the code, apparently something I didn't know, since I'm not a coder, is that to load the environment variable, your virtual environment does not automatically load it. So I had to run this. The virtual environment to run this, and also add these 2 pieces of line to our code so it will load, so our script can see the environment variable. So add this here. So that way, this line here can actually see the key in our environment variable. I didn't know that before. So let's run it. To run it, we're still gonna use the Streamlit run because it is a Streamlit app. So if you just click on the play here, the run here, it will get an error. So let's go enter, and it should load our web app. And looks like this has not been updated. So go back, close this. Let's save it. So when we see this title get updated, we know it's running the new code. So, okay, do the Streamlit run again. Let's see whether we'll get the new code. Okay, so we know it's the new code. So how about we ask the same question compared to when we had a OpenAI API before? So what is different between the BlackBerry and the Mulberry? So it's actually slower than OpenAI today. Right, so BlackBerry and Mulberry are both type of fruit, but they have several differences in terms of their taste, appearance, and nutrient content. And they listed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 differences. Now let's try a different model. And we'll copy the Llama 2 model ID so we can compare. To make it obvious, let's kill this first. Looks like I can't kill it. You have to kill this first before you kill the web app. So that's okay. We'll start a new terminal. And in here, we'll try a different model. So we're gonna put the Llama 2 being. And we'll also change to a different title. So we know our code has actually updated. 7B, 70B. I'll save that. And let's run the code again. And because we are using Groq, we are not actually hitting the large language model directly. So we only need one single API that for Groq. And whatever Groq supports, you will be able to switch in different models using the same API. So let's ask the same question. What is the difference between the BlackBerry and Mulberry? Oh, it's quicker. BlackBerry and Mulberry are two different types of fruits that are often confused with each other because they are similarity in appearance and taste. So from here, you already know the difference. You can see the difference that how Llama 2 respond differently from Mistral, and it also listed 9 differences. Okay, I don't have time to fact check, but you can see the differences. Now, lastly, let's try the Gemma B, which I have never used it. I don't know what is Gemma like. Or is it the Gemini, as Google call it latest? So let's don't kill the browser. Let's kill the app first. Control C, we stop that. And then we're gonna change this model ID. Do that. We'll change the title. So we know what we're running against. Gemma. Let's update the code. We'll run it. Let's copy the question here. What's the difference between BlackBerry and Mulberry? Now we can close this app window, or actually it updated by itself because on the same local host port, of course. Paste our questions. What's the difference between the BlackBerry and Mulberry? Now you can see there's different performance, different response coming back when we're switching among the 3 models. Obviously the answer style is completely different. The information you return is similar, but it's different like this. Structurally, visually look very different, this Gemma model. It didn't give you an introduction, just start listing the differences or the highlights of BlackBerry, Mulberry, and then compare them. I like the structure, although it's a bit lengthy, but I like the structure. But the response coming back from this model are different. I'm not sure whether that is because of the Groq or because of the actual model. I'll say the inference should be the same because we are running off the Groq hardware, and then from the application layer of the Groq, we are calling these 3 different models. Yeah, not expert on that, but just something interesting to do. In this quick video, we have built a ChatGPT-like web app using the Copilot and Streamlit. And as you can see, I didn't write a single line of code. I've just copied the sample from the Streamlit using Copilot to update it using the latest information from Groq by posting a sample to Copilot and ask it to update my code, and it has become a perfect working code once we run it in the VS Code. And also we are able to change different models, different LLM models, to test the difference of the app. Now it is very limited at the moment. As you guys know, there's only 3 models supported by Groq Cloud, but it is free to use and you can get your API keys. Groq builds its own hardware, so it's an inference engine and supposed to provide higher performance. Inference is meaning taking our human prompts and get a response back from the large language model. So this is not the method to train the model, but it's more like a way of using it. It's a performance booster. It's supposed to provide higher speed. Today in the video you saw I was using natively with OpenAI API. It was really fast today for some reason. The Groq code, when we used the API, it was okay, but 3 models had slightly different performance, and the Copilot on the website was the slowest. So I hope this video helps to get you started. This is not a review. I have not done any of the intensive testing, so I can't compare. But if you like this kind of stuff, leave a comment below. I'll continue to learn and share with you guys. Thank you for watching.